What's up guys? Today I'm going to show you my arrangement of Shake Me Down by Cage the Elephant. This is probably the #1 requested video on my channel, and I'm sorry it's taken me a couple of years, but here we go. So 3 things before we get started. #1, this song is a lot harder than it looks. This is always a big deal to put into my set list because it requires a lot of stamina from your left hand because there's a lot of bar chords. Also, side note, I struggle with some eczema, so I got a kind of a split on my finger here. So if I'm having trouble with bars today, it's because my hand hurts a lot. Just want to put that out there. So the 2 big things after that you need to know are #1, when I talk about a chord form, I'm talking about the shape that you make with your hand. So for instance, this is a A chord, this is a B flat chord, this is a B chord, this is a C chord, this is a D chord, but my hand's doing the same thing all through there because it's making the same form or shape. So I'm going to use that terminology. And then with that, if I'm talking about position of something, if I'm barring on the 1st fret, that's 1st position, 2nd fret, that's 2nd position. It's based off of where your index finger is. Some of you will already know this, some of you won't. Okay, so let's get right into it. I'm not going to walk you through the entire song in linear fashion. What I'm going to do is just play through and explain the different parts, and then your job is to take the information and actually put it together into the song. So let's start at the beginning. This song is in B flat major, and the reason I do not capo for this is because we need to use our open 5th string as a bass note, and that'll come up a little bit later. Normally I would capo because you get better resonance out of the guitar, and when you're working your butt off singing, sometimes it's kind of nice to not have to worry about doing all these bar chords, and again, you get a better sound. But for this, we absolutely need to keep it without a capo. So the opening part, you're making, it's basically a barred A chord, but you're just taking the top 3 strings, and you're going to move this note on the 3rd string down a half step and back and forth, and that's how you play the opening sort of little arpeggio. See if we can keep that in focus. So fast. Okay, and I'm picking that with thumb, index, and middle. You could do it with these fingers, and you will do it with these fingers later on, but for starting the very beginning of the song, you want to use your thumb because it gives you a different tone and it sounds better when you play it that way to begin. So then there's a transition as you play that. When you say, I keep my eyes fixed on the sun, you're hitting an F chord, which is an E form, barred here at the 1st position. That's the I keep my eyes fixed on the sun. And this strumming pattern is something we're just going to touch on now because it's going to be used later throughout the song. There's only one other strumming pattern than this. So what I'm doing is I'm strumming all 6 strings, and then I'm hitting the bass strings and then all 6 strings. And I'm just using the nails here on my hand, the outer part of the nails, to strum down. So they're sort of flowing through the strings that way. Okay, you don't want to use your thumb because you can catch your thumbnail and break it off. That's happened before by accident, but you just want to stroke through like that, and so you're hitting bass strings, treble, all the strings like that. So you go, okay, and then it goes back to that part, and when it comes back in again, you transition by hitting a B flat chord up here. This is in 6th position, it's an E chord form, and you go down, up, down, up, down, or 1 E and a 2. So that's the 2nd verse, and what I'm doing there is I'm playing that same little melody, but underneath it I'm playing the bass line, which would be played by the bass guitar. Again, this is of my arrangement. If you're looking to find an arrangement for just the electric guitar for your band, that's not what this is. This is designed to be a solo instrument arrangement. So we're going to play that bass line. So it goes B flat, then open A, and then F. And we're layering that underneath our arpeggio, and we do subtly change the arpeggio. Normally it's you maintain this shape of being 1st fret on the 1st string, 3rd fret on the 2nd string, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, right? You go from here to there. But when you play this, you're going to start with these 2 fingers on the 1st fret, and you're barring across, playing the 5th string bass note, play the bass note again, then you switch to this shape, and then as you play the 5th string open, and then as you go to the bass note here, which is F, get rid of this finger, and you just bar all the way across. And I'm picking 1st string and 2nd string here, so that you start out in your normal shape, but just instead of fretting this one note, you're barring all the way across so you get both this note and that note. And then you drop it down. And all together that gets if you listen to the record, you can hear when the bass guitar comes in, or if you watch my video, you'll see where that part comes in. So that kind of handles all of that arpeggio business. So now let's talk about the sort of second half of the verses, where you have the and that's the, you know, in my life bittersweet, found no love between the sheets. I think I'm mixing up the lyrics there, but you know the part. So what I'm playing is, the chord progression is B flat, 6th position E form, D minor, this is 5th position, A minor shape, and then G minor, which is 3rd position, E minor shape, and then C minor, which is 3rd position, A minor shape. So B flat, D minor, G minor, C minor. And I'm playing I, M, A, M on every string, combining the initial index finger with my thumb. So it's P and I, A, M, or P and I, M, A, M, like that. So playing, and the bass note is going to move. It's going to be on the 6th string for the 1st chord, 5th string for the 2nd chord, 4th, or back to the 6th string, and then to the 5th string, and that's where it's going. But these fingers are going to stay on the 3rd string, 2nd string, and 1st string respectively, okay? And again, and that's for the second half of the 1st verse. That same chord progression is played in the second half of the 2nd verse, but this time you're going, so you're going 1 E and a chaka chaka. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And to get a good muting sound, just relax these fingers. You keep them in the same shape, that way you don't have to lift them off or do anything funny. You don't need to go like that and flatten those fingers out. Just let the strings push the fingers away without lifting them off the strings, and you will get a beautiful muting sound. And when I'm strumming there, because again, I'm not using a pick, when you strum down, you're using the nails like I showed you before on the fingers, and when you strum up, you're using the backside of the thumbnail. Practice this technique. It's worth learning because you can get a really, really good sound, not the same as using a pick, but a very, very pick-like sound out of your nails when you use that technique. And it's a lot better than just using one finger because it spreads out the abuse over all of the fingers, which means that you don't end up wearing out your nails nearly as quickly, which is really important for me because I got very, very thin nails and I take supplements and all that kind of stuff, and it's just a genetic thing. And so this technique is a lifesaver or nail saver for me. So after that, there's just the bridge part, which kind of has a beginning part and, or we'll say an A part and a B part. So the chord progression there on the sort of beginning part of that is F major, G minor, and then B flat major. And all of those are using E forms, major, minor, and major respectively, in the 1st position, 3rd position, and 6th position. And you're using that down, 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 where you're hitting all the strings, just the bass notes, all the strings. And that's the walk around the corner on like Rolling Thunder part. And then the second half of that is the even Even on a cloudy day, even on a cloudy day, which is E flat major, B flat major, F major, G minor. And they are in the sixth position, first position, third position, and using an A bar form, E bar form, E bar form, E minor bar form. And you want to let those ring, and it's super important to let your first string ring when you play that chord. You don't want to just hear, you want to hear, on a cloudy day, because you want that continuity of that note between the two chords, because you'll hear it on this chord and that chord. Okay? So I almost forgot to tell you guys the solo, which is, let's see here. Okay, so that is just going down, 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 muting by lifting the fingers, letting them just muffle the strings by touching them instead of fretting them, and then hitting and muting immediately, muting. The right hand's not doing any muting here, it's all in the left hand. And those chords they're all E form chords. We're using some majors and minors, so we got B flat major in the sixth position, D minor in the 10th position, and then A minor in the 5th position, and G minor in the 3rd position. And that's right before the bridge, the end of the sort of second chorus part. A little tip on this. You can sub out some of the chord shapes if you're not comfortable, but it won't sound the same. Switching from doing the chord shapes down here to doing these chord shapes up here. Even though, yes, this is B flat major and this is B flat major, they're both musically the same chord. They're a different voicing, so, and the same thing is true when you play like, that doesn't sound the same as going, even though musically they're the same chord, because this D minor ends on the 5th of the chord and it doesn't end on a D, the root or tonic of the chord. If you want to hear the lead guitar part of, which, yeah, it doesn't sound good right now, that's not the point. If you want to hear that part, or at least suggest that part to your listeners, you got to use this, these particular voicings of the chords. Okay guys, so there's the video. It's not necessarily your traditional style of tutorial, but I'm not necessarily traditional. If you guys liked it, please hit the like button. Remember, likes are free. It doesn't cost you anything to hit the like button. Comment whether you like the tutorial or not. Let me know in the comments how I could do this better. And if you really want to support me for $1 a month, go over to Patreon. You would have seen this video last week. And I do give a huge priority to people's requests on the channel. But if you make a request through Patreon, which you can do, those things get prioritized first. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Luke Walstead, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.